Inside Masterminds. I'm Chantal Dusters, and today I get to sit in front of the creme de la creme, San Diego's top producer, husband, father, leader, truly all-around amazing man, John Reeves. Hi, John. Happy New Year's. How are you?
Same to you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. How was your New Year's, your Christmas?
Well, I love New Year's because it's a restart to a new year. It's just a refreshment, and it's my favorite time of the year. Christmas, New Year's, get to start over. So.
Hopefully Santa was good to everybody. Everybody made the nice list in
Santa was
2018.
great.
Good, I love it. I really do. You know, I'm still trying to get used to writing 2019 on all my papers because, you know, we're only, 4 days in, and I have that habit, 2018. So I think it'll take me another week or so. Hopefully you're not as behind on that as I am. So.
Indeed.
I know today we have a limited time, and I wish we could spend 24 hours because, you know, your background is so intriguing, but I really want to give viewers just a true insight on how you have become what you have become. How have you become the best of the best? Just an all-around leader. I mean, you're known all over San Diego, and not just the best in real estate, but you've hit success in so many different areas in your life that I do want to touch upon in the interview. But first and foremost, I want the viewers to know a background about you. Where did you start? Where did you come from? Were you born and raised in San Diego? What's your story?
Well, the first thing I'll say is thank you for the amazing accolades. Obviously, I'm a product of my team. I'm a product of my family. I'm a product of the environment I'm surrounded by. But most importantly, I'm a product of God's work here on earth. So I literally just flow from the Lord here. I'm doing His will here on earth. So I am blessed that my faith keeps me going forward when times may get rough.
And you're doing it successfully. So
Thank you.
I think he sees that.
I think He's on my side.
He's on your side. I think so. I think so.
So how I got to San Diego, I came to San Diego when I was 18 years old. I enlisted in the United States Marine Corps straight out of high school. There's a lot of reasons that happened, but growing up in Angleton, Texas, I came from very, very meager beginnings. When I was young, my father chose to walk away from our family. I remember the day he drove out of our driveway. I was 4 years old, and I watched him drive down the street and leave my brother, me, and my mom behind. So growing up with a single mom, we had very little money. We had very, very meager existence. I remember the lights getting shut off. I remember our water getting shut off. I remember foreclosure notices showing up on the door. I remember seeing my mom scrounge and scramble and fight to keep our family taken care of. And learning from my mom, just watching her figure out a way to always make things happen and find a way or make one is something I embraced at a very young age. Just by her being a single mother and an example, taught me more about life than any book or anything she ever said. I watched her actions. So when I was first born, it's an interesting story. When I was born, within a couple of hours, I contracted viral meningitis. So the doctors in St. Louis, Missouri, told my mother that it's very unlikely I would survive. I was likely going to die during the night. Not many babies could get viral meningitis a couple of hours into birth last. So my parents, mom and dad at the time, had to be okay with me passing, had to be okay with me dying. They gave me last rites, and they literally thought they would never see me again. The doctor said he just stands no chance. If he does survive, he'll be handicapped, he'll be blind, he'll have disabilities, learning, whatever it is. Well, they had to close the curtain on me and basically say, this is it. And obviously the next day I was still going strong. The next day the doctors came and said it's a miracle, his fever's breaking. We have no idea how, but you're very blessed. Your son looks like he's going to make it. So why I tell that story is because every time something challenging happened in my life as a young man, young boy, my mother would say, you know, John, you've always been a fighter and a warrior. God put you on this earth for a reason, and He could have taken you when you were born. He kept you around. You were lucky once. God graced you with luck, and you were blessed. The rest of your life, you have to make your own luck. And from that, growing up hearing that my entire life, I realize in my brain and my mind and my heart that no matter what happens, I have to create my own future, my own destiny, and create my own luck. And I don't believe in luck. I think luck is where preparation meets opportunity. And I'm a fierce believer in preparing always and seize the opportunity when it comes. So obviously growing up very meager. I didn't have the tools that a lot of children or kids have growing up. My mom did the best she could. She was also the product of an alcoholic mother and father, and she was an alcoholic herself. She fought that her entire life. So she wasn't the most emotionally strong example and role model. She didn't know how to provide the standard skill sets for studying and being great in school. So as a result, I was not a really good student. I was a very mediocre at best student in high school and middle school, and as a result, there were doors that were not open to me when I graduated from high school. And I barely graduated from high school. There were just doors that were not open. So the door that did open for me was the Marine Corps. And why the Marines is because I watched my brother enlist in the Marine Corps as well. And he came back and I saw the transformation and the change. And I was sold. My brother went because my mom for years talked about her grandfather serving in World War II. He landed on the beaches of Normandy and liberated Europe, liberated concentration camps. So there was always a desire in our family to serve. Now, as a result of that, that's why my grandfather became an alcoholic. He suffered with post-traumatic stress from the Second World War, and it translated to my mom. And looking back, those were all gifts because it made me who I am. And that's what brought me to the Marine Corps. So I enlisted 17 years old, 18, I showed up here on the Yellow Footprints, MCRD San Diego, and I remember sitting on that drill field, or the parade deck, the grinder we call it, and looking up at all the houses and the hills, and I said, this is a beautiful place, this is amazing weather. I come from Angleton, Texas, 105 degrees.
So stationed in San Diego.
Stationed in San Diego.
Not a bad start.
Chantel was very blessed. I came,
Not a bad start.
I came from a place that was very hot. 105 degrees to 70 degrees. People were like, oh, it's really hot. I'm like, man, there's a chill.
Right.
I love this place.
Yeah.
So.
That's amazing because, you know, I think for a lot of us and probably a lot of the viewers too, you meet Marines or you hear about someone's background in the Marines, and it almost seems, just because of media nowadays and the stories you hear, it seems like a fake reality. But for you, it was an actual reality. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I understand that you went to war, you led men into battle, and you did experience those things, and, you know, with what you're comfortable speaking with, because again, for the everyday person, it just almost seems like a kind of like a, yeah, right, that's a fake world out there that people are going through, but it's really not. It's really not.
Well, you know, that was 1996 when I came to San Diego. I applied to go to college. I went to the U.S. Naval Academy. They let me in by the grace of the universe. Got into the Naval Academy, graduated, and when I had the option to come choose a station, it was, of course, I'm coming back to San Diego. I'm coming home. And I graduated in 2003, which is, the viewers, and you probably know, that was during the Iraq War. So the people who graduated the year before me were in the Iraq War, all of them actively engaged. 2004, I got back to San Diego after all my schooling, and I deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan 2006, 7, 9, and 10. And going overseas in support of your nation, seeing what other people endure, seeing the lives that people in other countries live, and the oppression and just the violence and what war brings, makes one appreciate this country so much more. And I always tell people there's 4 things I truly love in this world: God, my wife and kids, this country, and people. And this country I believe in because I truly think it's the greatest place in the world. And I've seen other countries, and I believe this country's worth fighting for and dying for. So I'm a fierce patriot. I love America.
I was going to say, it's an honor to be sitting in front of you, and I owe you a thank you for serving for our country. I think a lot of people do, but I really do think that that's shaped so much of your success and what you've come from. And, you know, it's often that I come across people who have these horrible life stories, and unfortunately, their mindset is more so, you know, poor me, I can't succeed, or this is happening to me because of, you know, my upbringing, or my parents weren't together, my parent was an alcoholic, I lost a parent. But I've also come across people who've actually used those situations to better themselves and say, you know what, I didn't have a dad, so I'm going to be the best dad. And I didn't see the best situation between my parents' marriage, so I'm going to try to have the best marriage. Or in terms of success, you know, and not just financial, but you had a meager upbringing. Well, what can you do for your kids and your family? And I really do think that's something you've mastered on all levels. It's hard enough to master one thing, success in a business or success in a marriage, but you've mastered everything. I know you're still growing, and I really, I want to know how that background of your upbringing and being a Marine has helped you transition now into the success as San Diego's top producer. And why? Why did you even get into real estate?
Well, I wouldn't say I've mastered anything.
In my opinion.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I grow every day, and I always have more to learn, and I always have more growth to achieve. And I'm very blessed that I have the resources to seek that growth out now. I believe that we're a product of our peer group, we're a product of the books we read, and our mindset. So I'm blessed to have strong areas on all three of those.
So tell me, John, I think everybody wants to know this. I struggle with this every day. I think everybody does. And maybe that's what I view you as a master. I'm not married. I don't have children yet. You know, I'm growing my law firm. But it's hard enough for somebody to go to the gym for an hour every day. And, I know you. I've spoken to you before. And not only do you do the gym, not only do you do your successful business, you have tell me how many agents now?
Well, it's growing daily. Right now, we're at 41.
Wow. So. Okay. And then you have a successful marriage. You're a father of 4 beautiful kids. I mean, how do you manage each of those things when, a lot of us are complaining, oh, I don't want to go to the gym today, and they're not even managing half of that. What is, the answer to that, to your success?
So I never see it that way. I just see it as I'm doing the best that I can. But I appreciate the kind words. I believe that focus goes where energy flows. And when you want something, I believe if you go after it, your focus will go there and everything aligns the right way. So I watched growing up my mother slave to take care of her 2 boys. And we couldn't afford to get our car fixed, so she broke open the owner's manual when she would fix it herself. She had to mow the yard when we were young. She had to figure out household chores, drywall, anything that broke, she broke out the owner's manual. So it taught me you can learn anything if you put the right resources towards it. And she also inspired me to want to serve others, because there were many times where people would help us, and she would always tell me, if you help others get what they want in life, you will always have what you want. And it really brings back a memory to when I was a young boy. I remember there was a Christmas where my mom had to come to my brother and I and say, there's no Santa Claus. I cannot afford Christmas. The gig is up. There's no money for food, groceries, power. So I have to put our resources there instead of providing a Christmas. And that was 3 days before Christmas. And on Christmas Eve, somebody put an envelope on our door. And in that envelope, there was a blue card with a white dove, and it said love on the outside. And inside was $20. And this is 1986, I believe. So $20 was a lot more back then.
Right.
Now it'll get you a Starbucks.
Right.
Back then.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
Yes. Back then, it got us Christmas. And my mom eked out a Christmas on that $20 and provided for us because somebody provided hope. And my mom said, this is a lesson that we all need to take and learn, that if you help others, you get enormous gratification. So it inspired me and changed my life in an instant. A paradigm shift happened. I didn't know what that word was back then. But now I realize that I had a shift in my life about serving others, helping others. And I know in order to serve people at the highest level, I have to maintain my health and my vitality. I have to maintain my body. I have to maintain the most important thing in my life after God, which is my wife and our relationship, and then it's our children. I have to have strength in those areas, because if I don't, I cannot be a leader in my business and I cannot be a leader in the community. So it's all about focusing on the things that empower me to contribute to others, to help others, and to grow.
So walk me through that. Military career's done. How did the transition into real estate occur? Was it just something that you had an opportunity and seized it? Was it something that you set out to accomplish? How did it start?
That's a great question. I love telling this story because I tell this to every person in my firm. It started for me in 2006. I was in the Iraq War in Al Taqaddum, Iraq, and I read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which I'm sure most people have heard about. I read that book, and it, again, changed my mindset about growing a legacy and growing wealth and building your own financial strength. And I came back from the Iraq War in 2007 and literally went and executed things I learned in the book. And the first one was, you want to acquire assets that put money into your pocket. So I bought investment real estate. When I bought the first property back in 2007, we utilized a real estate agent who we trusted. It was a fellow Marine, a fellow Naval Academy graduate, thought this person was going to take care of us. It was a person I used to live with. And it was just a very negative experience. And looking back, it was actually a great experience because it taught me, wow, there are people in the world who don't have the same values and the same desire to serve others. So it was a great lesson. And the next house we purchased, we went to purchase, was in 2008. We said, let's get an agent that has more experience. Maybe that we can just chalk up to experience. Let's get someone with 30 years of experience who's been licensed longer than I'd been alive at that point. And it was equally bad. So at that point, I realized, all right, we went with someone we knew and trusted, then we went with someone who had 30 years experience. If we're going to keep buying investment real estate, let's just get licensed ourselves. And within a couple of weeks of getting licensed, people were asking us, can you help us buy a house? Can you help me? And I said, I'd love to help you, but I don't know how to be an agent. I know how to find properties. I know how to negotiate to get you the best, or myself the best possible deal, analyze the construction costs. I know how to fix it up, and then I know how to get it rented out for passive income. That's all I know how to do. And it just happened that everyone I spoke to in the Marine Corps with me said, that's exactly what I want, John. So literally we fell into real estate, my wife and I, and it started as a part-time, after hours, working to learn, helping people find properties. And our first client is still a member of our company right now. He came to work with us, and he's still a member of our team.
I've met some of your team, and I know, a lot of them are from years of knowing them, and it's really like family, which is so great because, like you said, my business partner and I, we kind of went through the same thing as you. Is the first-year attorney that we would work with, I don't know, 40-year attorney, still don't know. So let's open our own law firm. Let's do it. Let's be the voice for the people who are looking for people like we were looking for. And I think that, I know that you provide such great education for your team, constantly providing seminars. It's not just, hey, go get out there, because I think I've heard a lot of misconceptions regarding real estate, and I know you've heard this one, but a lot of people are like, I'm gonna go into real estate, I'm gonna make so much money, it's so easy, it's just this, flashing lights that you see, the what is it on Bravo, these real estate shows, and I think everybody thinks that they could do it, and I don't think that's true.
Well, I think people get in because they have a dream. Some of it is based on their own significance or the need for certainty and income. Mine was based on I wanted to build passive income, so I started buying properties. Then I realized how it changed my life. I love changing other people's lives, so I was on a race to help others. And in helping others get what they wanted, just like the blue card that showed up on our door, by helping others, I realized, wow, there's such a feeling of gratification, and there's such a feeling of inspiration and empowerment when I help somebody get their first home, because a home is more than just a place to live. It is literally where memories are made, where people get engaged, where kids are born and brought back from the hospital. It is so much more than just a house. It is literally a palace that has memories that last forever.
So true.
So as soon as I began helping people buy homes and sell homes, I realized what an empowering and grateful feeling it gave me and how it helped them. And now I was on a race. I was hooked. I was literally like, this is something I just want to do more and more. How can I do this more? How can I grow? How can I contribute more? How can I get better so I can help more people? And it became a race to help others, a race to help more people. So it's never been about the money for me. The money does flow, abundance does come, but it's been about serving others. And I believe that if you don't care about making a dollar, you care about making a difference, that you'll live in abundance and you'll be successful. And success isn't about money. Success is about loving, learning, growing, and giving. And I possess those four things every single day. I make those habits.
What would you say in terms of advice? What's the best piece of advice you could give, whether it's a new realtor or a veteran realtor who's trying to kind of reach the next level but is stuck? We all get stuck at certain points in our careers, but how do you overcome that? What would you say is a piece of advice or something you've learned through the growing pains of, hey, that was an easy trick that I learned on my own? Is it something that they just need to learn on their own, or is there something they could be doing?
Well, I think there's three things that prevent people from achieving what they want. I think it's failure to anticipate the road ahead. I believe it's the failure to follow through. And I believe it's mindset and psychology. There's only three things that stop us from moving forward. Most people, in my opinion, don't move forward because they believe they're not worthy, or they believe they can't, or they just have fear. And fear is a very, very powerful influencer. I used to possess an enormous amount of fear. I never wanted to go back to the way I grew up. I was more afraid of that in my first 4 years of starting a business than I was in moving the business forward. I was living in fear.
Right.
So I did things out of fear alone. Now I don't do things out of fear. Now I do things out of focus and direction and faith and the ability to contribute. And that was just another switch for me. So I believe that it's psychology. If you go in believing that you can or believing that you should and you're doing the right thing, that you can always find the tools, the resources, and the plan. There's always someone out there doing it at another level that's above yours that you can learn from. It's, do you have the desire and can you release the fear that stops us from moving forward?
The mind is truly a powerful thing, and I think that's one thing that everybody watching this today could, try to overcome as the first step with hearing your story. And again, husband, father, leader, success story, and rough upbringing. But here you are, John Reeves, Reef Point Realty, in my opinion, hit the top. But where do you go from here? Because I know you're not going to stop.
Well, I laugh at that because, no, I'm not going to stop. I believe that where our firm will go will be into the future. It's about serving others. It's about adding massive value to people's lives. I've never thought of myself as a realtor or in the real estate business. I believe that when you're selling homes, you're in the life-changing business and you're in the delivery of an emotional feeling. You're delivering emotions and you're delivering a future. So when you have that outlook, I don't believe there's anything that can stop you. Now it's just about getting the tools, getting the systems, getting the resources, and helping more people. However that develops over the next 5 years, and we have, of course, our strategic goals, our operational goals, our tactical goals, chunked down yearly, 6 months, 3 months, weekly, because numbers are how you drive focus and how you create results. But it really comes down to having a big why. What's the result I want and what's the reasons why? Because I can always build the massive action plan behind it. It really comes to why do I want to do this? So my goal and the goal of our team and the goal of my family is to serve more people at the highest possible level, changing people's lives for the better, creating legacies that they can pass down over generations to come. And I truly believe that. I love people, I love serving, I love helping, and it feels good. It really gives me an enormous sense of satisfaction and fulfillment. So my goal and my mission in life is to serve others. So the more people I can serve, the better.
I think your passion truly drives your success. And I think with a lot of people that I've met that have reached success in whatever it is they're doing, it's the passion behind it. Versus, again, just going back to just the drive for money because it's there one day, could be gone tomorrow. And if you don't have all these other things that are there that you've reached success at, it's kind of like you feel like you've lost everything.
Well, I remember my worst day in real estate, and it was in May of 2013. And I say my worst because my worst day in real estate was 1,000 times better than my best day in Iraq. So it's all relative.
Well, I was going to get to that. I was going to say to you, now that you're here, what would you say is more challenging, the military or the real estate success that you've grown? I know they're completely different, but...
Well, that's a great...
Which is harder, John?
I don't think either one was hard. I think they each have unique challenges and unique battles to face. Being in the real estate world is very, very creative. Being in the military is just, you have to be mentally tough. But I think mental toughness is equally important in both of them. And, growing a business with no rule book and no playbook was a little bit more challenging than my time in the Marine Corps. My time in the Marine Corps was life-threatening,
right.
But growing a business, there is no pathway to success. You have to create your own destiny and your own future. So,
and when you have a family depending on it, and to touch back, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I was curious to ask you what you viewed, as more challenging or more difficult. But I want to hear about your hardest day.
Well, my hardest day in real estate was in 2013. I don't remember the exact day in May. I've done my best to erase that memory, but uh, I literally almost had, I probably did have a nervous breakdown. It was a panic attack, anxiety, and here I am a Marine, so I don't believe in panic attacks. I don't believe in
Right.
anxiety. I didn't then. So obviously the ego gets in the way, and I'm like, I'm fine. But I literally got to a point where I hit a breaking point and an overload. And it was very, very challenging because I didn't know where to go. And I only kept one appointment that day. There was one appointment I kept that day in 2013. And it was about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I walked into a guy's office who is still in the industry. His name's Ryan Lipsey.
I know him.
Yeah, me too.
A lot of people do.
And I said, look, I'm working really, really hard, and I want to grow my business because I want to help other people. I want to do the right thing, and I want to serve. I've hit a point today where I was crying like a baby. I was literally in tears on the beach in Del Mar.
Not a bad beach to be.
Not a bad beach, but not a bad place, or not a great place for a business owner to be. It was a low point in my life, and there was, it's amazing that one person can have a shift in your mindset and an impact on your life. And that day we lined out a 22-step process to growing a business to serve others, and I implemented and executed violently as passionately as I could. But it was a life-changing day, and it's amazing that if you'll just open yourself up, how many people are out there that can just through an introduction in a meeting have a massive impact. But it was literally my worst day. I cried. I had a nervous breakdown, and I'm okay saying that now. I'm strong enough in my masculinity to say, look, it was a low point for me. And luckily, by the grace of the Creator, there was a man there who gave me some insight, and has something I will never forget. It was extremely empowering, and it changed my life.
I can say I truly appreciate hearing you want to help others so much and kind of guide them because, again, speaking from my perspective, my business and partner and I in the legal field ran into so many people who kind of felt like they've reached their level and they don't have the time to teach us. And oftentimes forgetting that they were once in our shoes. And it really takes a good mentor. Then, we were fortunate enough to have one, and now hearing that you are for all these agents, I hope they understand how lucky they are and they use that resource because you are an amazing mentor. And the fact that you take time out of everything to guide people to success is very important.
Well, thank you for that. I realize there's only so much one person can do alone. And if I really want to change thousands and thousands of lives, I have to literally recruit an army of people to help me, an army of people who are like-minded, who are focused, who are optimistic, who are passionate, and who want to help others. So there's 4 things: loving, learning, growing, and giving. I firmly believe in giving information and helping others grow so that they can become empowering in their own lives and empower the lives of others. So, there's a lot of people out there who say, John, you train your agents way too much. What if you train them and they leave? And I say, well, what if I don't train them and they stay? So,
that's a good way, much better way to look at it.
I think people look at it from a very scarcity position. They look at, well, I'm going to train this person, they'll go somewhere else. But you're training a person that you brought onto your team who has values and they have the right principles and they have the right life focus. So wherever they go, they're going to do good and they're going to do amazing things for the world, and you are helping empowering that person. So to me, it was always about how much can I develop the people who I work with so that they can live a fulfilled life, an extraordinary life with passion and empowerment. So when you look at the world that way, I believe it aligns differently than the people who live in more scarcity. So I love my team. I love to train. I love to teach, to coach, to mentor, and to grow people. Like I said, it's learning, loving, giving, growing. Those are the 4 things.
And I can attest again from just meeting some of your agents and getting to meet you and work with you, you are a highly respected individual. And I think respect says a lot. When there's others talking about you in a positive way, I think that's another level of success that you've reached.
Well, I shy away from the word respect because I think respect is a prison term. But, you don't respect. I think, if you do the best you can possibly do, put all your heart and soul into it, and just live by a code of values that are aligned with, what the world is aligned with, I believe that you can make a massive difference. And if you do the right things right every single day to the best of your abilities, you can go to bed, look over at your wife and say, I did my best for this family, I did my best for people, I did my best for the Creator, and I did my best for myself. And that's the most we can hope for.
So I take it 2019 is going to be your best year yet.
I say that every single year.
I know
that this is going to be my best
the
year.
way to do it, and I really believe it. I know you are very good about setting goals for the new year and accomplishing them, and I think this...
Well, 2019 is going to be an amazing year, and at the end of the year, when the goals are met or not met, it's not even the goals that matter, it's who I had to become to reach that goal.
Right.
How much I had to stretch myself, push myself, help others to get to that goal. So when you hit a goal, it's like, okay, what's next? But it's really not about the goal. It's about who you had to become to achieve it, and that's what I look forward to the most, is how much I can grow myself and grow my team and grow the people on my team around me this year, and how much I can serve others and change more lives. And I'm on a race to do it as much as I can.
Do you have plans on expanding more agents, more cities? What's the plan in terms of growth?
Well, you know, the first is just grow here organically in San Diego and be the best we can be here. And yes, our future plans are going to other marketplaces around Southern California to help people in other markets. So again, it is a race to do as much as we possibly can and change as many lives as possible. So.
I love it. I love it. Well, John, I will tell you, you definitely gave me a new perspective going into this weekend. The year just started, and you know, I thought I stepped in, ready. It's 2019, but I think you have given me a perspective on I could be doing more, I should be doing more, and I think that's a good thing. I think that everybody watching will also feel like, hey, you know what, why am I complaining? Or I'm not doing enough. I could be doing more, and not just more in their everyday lives, but as we go back to it again, more to be helping people, more to help San Diego, not just ourselves. It's not just a self-serving situation we're in, because I don't think eventually that doesn't help you grow.
Well, when you help others, there's an enormous sense of fulfillment, and that you can't get from just building your own business or building yourself. And yourself is, you know, personal growth is massively important. But when you serve someone else, there's a feeling of fulfillment, an emotion of fulfillment that is just unmatched in the world. So I'm a strong proponent in that, and we have great goals that support fulfilling that. And I'm very, very excited, very blessed with the opportunity to come in here and be interviewed. I hope that anyone out there can learn a little bit, or you know, if you take one nugget, take it away. But I've learned from thousands of mentors, coaches, books in my life. So I'm very, very grateful for the opportunity to come in here and speak. And you're far too kind in your words, but I do appreciate them. Thank you.
I appreciate your time, and I thank you for everybody else too, because we've kind of put the spotlight on you. You know, here you need to talk about, you didn't need to, but you did. You opened yourself up and you talked about some very vulnerable things, but I think that, again, that's part of your success story, and you didn't have to do that for everybody. But, you know, it might strike a chord in some people who have had a more difficult upbringing, and maybe if they were in that position or the little rut of, oh, my life, and kind of like a poor me situation. After hearing you, you're like the Tony Robbins for San Diego. I know you're a big fan of his.
Huge fan of Tony Robbins. I'm like literally, I believe he's one of the greatest mentors and personal development coaches in the world. And I'm a huge fan, a raving fan of Tony Robbins.
Well, whatever he's been doing, it really does show. I haven't had the opportunity to go, and I've told you before I would love to, but it really does show. And again, you're not only growing your team and educating your team, you're educating yourself and really taking positive steps. So I thank you so very much, and I know you're going to go into the weekend probably killing it with whatever you're doing.
Well, Chantal, in real estate, we don't say weekend, we say it's the week begin.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, your weekend, you probably don't really have one with your work ethic. I know you're always going, but you've taken time out of your Friday, and I think we're also fortunate, and I'm sure plenty of people will be reaching out to you. But again, thank you for just showing your road to success and maybe just paving the way for a lot of viewers who are considering, or just you want to grow, want to hit that level of success as well. And many blessings to you for 2019
Thank
and
you so
all
much.
those to come. I know you're going to have them. So
Thank you.